Well, good morning. I feel like I should, have like a catchphrase every time, that you show up here in the shop that I can, I don't know. What's happening? No, that's a terrible one. I don't, I don't know. Maybe I'll think of something, so, you feel more special when you come in because you get the greeting. Well, anyway, I'm glad you're here. You just showed up on a terribly silly time. I'm Eric. Obviously, you've been coming. Yes. No, I don't know where Eric. Yes, I know where Eric is. I'm like literally standing in front of you. Oh, I see what the problem is. Don't be shocked. I know, it's a little surprising, isn't it? Well, it's the Superman effect. I don't know what it is, but you put glasses on. Well, let me take them off. I don't want to confuse you, but I am unrecognizable. You don't know who I am. Speaking of unrecognizable, Mr. Nonsense, this is ridiculous. I don't know if you have this in your garage, but you've got drawers of little bins of parts and you're using them, and then you also sometimes don't use them. So instead of figuring out which drawer they go in, you just kind of toss them here for later. And I'm running out of later space. I need to clean it. But I'm not going to do that right now. So, oh yeah. Well, that came off a Mustang that I had a while ago, a few years ago. That's a 67 Olds 442 that I owned for a short time. I actually bought that car because I never thought I'd be able to. What I mean is, I knew the guy that owned it, and he's kind of an old guy, and I figured that was his forever car. And one day he called me up, he's like, hey, you interested? And I said, heck yeah, I can't afford it, but that's not gonna stop me. So I bought it and, drove it for a while and then sold it. So it was fun, it was a good car. It's basically, it's the same car, same profile as the Pontiac GTO of that vintage, or the Chevrolet Impala. The roof line is the same, dimensions are the same. It's just the Oldsmobile version, and it was a pretty cool car. So anyway, I'm getting off track. I was trying to act cool, but it's like a little too high for cool. I don't have okay, I'll just stand here. I'm not cool, so I don't need to act that way. I'll still try sometimes. Okay, we're gonna be working on Mr.E the whole time. This is the goal. I need to finish up some wiring. I need to get the dash installed. I need to get the dash completely wired and installed. I need to get the vintage air with all the ducting done. And the owner of the car is going to be doing some things too, which you won't be able to be around for, but we'll show the results as we go. And the ultimate goal is to try to get this car cranked up. We're really close to it. Just getting the dash finished and the gauges in, so that we can, see what's happening when we're starting the engine. So the owner will be here for the startups, but you'll get to hear the engine run, hopefully. So that's the goal. This is kind of the last week. Might have half a week next week, but really I only have half a week next week because I'm going to be out of town. So just to button up some things, I anticipate once the engine starts, the fluid starts circulating, I'm going to have a leak somewhere because that's my life. So I'll have to track those down, but yeah, that's where we're at. So, you know, I'm going to get to it. If you're going to grab yourself a coffee and, oh, sorry. I know it's confusing. Let's, maybe I need a coffee. Let's go. Oh yeah, I was going to clean this first. We interrupt this, work that we're doing just to explain what we're doing. We, again with the we. What I'm doing, I don't know why I do that. So you may have noticed I am wiring up a relay. So it's a 4-pin relay. It's got 4 wires. I've chosen different colors. I've wired them in and protected them with a, the junction with a boot. I've got these, they're solder seal wire connectors. So let me pull one out. I don't know if you'll be able to see one, but they basically have a little roll of solder in there, and you heat it up after you put the wires in, and it solders the wires together. I don't use it for everything. I crimp and shrink as well. But because this is under the hood and, it's subject to inclement weather, whatever, who knows, whatever. I just felt like that's what I wanted to do. But what it is for is I'm wiring up a trinary switch. So this switch right here that you can barely see because you're like half a world away is attached to the dryer for the air conditioning, and it's a switch. It has a wire coming in, has a wire going out. How it's wired right now is when you turn on the switch to activate air conditioning, this switch detects whether there's pressure in the line, or maybe it's too high pressure, too low pressure. I can't remember which one. Anyway, that you actually have some coolant in the line. If it says, yep, you do, we got a pressurized system, then the compressor will kick on. Well, there's one missing link, and that is the electric fan. So I don't know if your fan has ever stopped running while you have the air conditioning on, and all of a sudden, like, you don't have cold air. It might be coolish, but it's not cold. And then you start driving at like 70 miles an hour, and oh, it's cold again. Oh, okay. And then you slow down and stop, and oh, it's warm again. Well, that's because this condenser needs air flowing through it. So we've got the engine fans here that are switched on by the computer of the engine. When it reaches a certain temperature, they kick on. Well, I also need a switch to kick one of them on when I turn that switch on under the dash. So I want air conditioning. I want the switch to say, yep, we have pressure. If we have pressure, then we'll turn the compressor on and the fan. So 2 things are getting turned on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm wiring it via relay, And once I get the trinary switch, which has 4 pins, this has 2 pins, you know, in and out. The 4 pins, the other 2 pins, one is ground, I believe, and then the other is switched to fan. So basically it'll do the second thing. No, it's a trinary switch. It should be doing 3 things. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I don't have the switch yet, but I thought, well, let me just wire up. Let me get the relay in, get the wires run to battery, to key on ignition, and to ground, and just kind of leave extra wire here at the switch. And then when I get the switch in, we'll just, you know, plug it in. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. Back to our regularly scheduled time lapse. Okay, Santa Claus came again. And you know, when he comes to town, we have more work to do. So, what I'm working on here is the back side of an old gauge cluster, instrument cluster. I've actually got a couple of them. Well, you can't see it. This one showed up on eBay. As you can see, you know, it's got a little patina on it. It's possible that this car had been underwater at some point. I don't know if they rescue. Let me pull it up here. If they rescued this one from, you know, the deeps. But what I need from it, I may have to rob from both of them. I need this housing that the gauges are in. And this one actually has a broken tab on it. This one that's been submerged does not. So I don't know. We might use a little bit of both. But, whoops. I'm trying to keep everything the way I found it so I don't lose my place. So if you remember from before, just walk over here. We had, you know, these gauges, and of course that little thing there is a little signal diode, and they go here. Well, they need to be in that little plastic whatever thingy. That's what they mount in. Oh, that dash also came with a wiper switch, mint. But the switch seems to be switching, so I'm just going to clean that one up, and it fits properly. So we're going to do that. Anyway, we'll do that later. What I'm doing now is prepping the new dash. Here, let's just wander around for no apparent reason because I forgot to show you this. This is an original dash, not original to this car, but it came with some of the brackets and switches that I needed to put on my new one, which is why this particular one was purchased. You can see the car that it came out of did not have air conditioning. That upper vent is closed off. Well, it says air, but I don't believe it had it. You know, unless I'm wrong, which, you know, is 73% likely. I was going to sound smart, and now I sound dumb. Maybe. I still might be smart. We just will never know. So you can see this here is a cutout for a vent, whereas this one does not have it. That does say cold and hot and air, but it doesn't say air conditioning. It just says air. So I'm going to go with my original supposition. And who cares? It's an observation. I'm just nerding out over details. So I am going to remove the gauges from this. I need this green plastic piece, or this one, to put the new gauges in. So I'll have to clean this one up. I don't like that this one's broken and brittle. I don't like that that one's been underwater, but these are the choices we have, because that gauge kit is made for a car that previously had gauges, and you know, this car previously did have gauges. We just don't have them. So somehow they got lost in all of the moves for the car. So we've got that. So I'm working on the dash, because as soon as I can get it assembled, then I can tell all those wires where to go. Because right now, you know, I just wasn't sure where to place everything. So, and then I've got to wire up for the steering column. And of course, then I've got my accessories. I've got my electric e-brake. I've got the air conditioning, the vintage air to wire in, excuse me. I've got the engine harness, which will have your check engine light and your whatever signal wire that tells the computer that you're starting the car and it's okay to turn on. All those things. So for me, the dash is what's important right now. And the owner of the car is going to come over this week. We're at an 8-day crunch, you know, because the car is leaving. It has to go to the upholsterers. And so our goal in these 8 days is to get this running. We're going to put just a basic exhaust on it. We're not doing anything custom right now. Just hang some pipe and mufflers, things like that, just so we can start it up. And anyway, 8 days, that's what I have. So I'm going to do as much as I can with you here, but when the owner shows up, we'll just get done and I'll catch you up. So it'll kind of be one of those weeks. Also got the, you know, wiper paraphernalia. And there's a, oh, I apologize. I don't even know if you can hear me over that. That is an air conditioner that I bought 2 years ago. I don't know, is that some sort of estate sale or something? And it's a big commercial, you know, roll around air conditioner. I almost never get it out because it's so loud, and I just kind of suffer through with fans and everything, but it's supposed to get really warm in the next few days, so I hooked it up. It's on the thermostat and it'll just kick on and make all kinds of noise. So, and I'm walking over here so you can hear me better. Yeah. Also, this week, this is the engine out of Marcus Aurelius over there, whatever his name is. That'll be different every time probably. Taking that to the engine builder, and then I'm actually taking both flex plates. One is for Ella. He needs that one for balancing and whatnot. And yeah, I've got it hooked to my four-wheeler just to move it around until I'm ready to tow it with an actual vehicle. But I had this outside, and then I'm like, well, I should move it in for, you know, evening. And then, anyway, it's not necessary for me to tell you all that. I just walked over there. Oh yeah, another thing. So this is the engine. This color is actually Detroit diesel. You know, big truck diesel engine color. This is the '69 Chevy 350 out of the Corvette that I plan to put in Dusty. And I just had some time yesterday, so I made wires for it. You know, I just hadn't put the ends on. So I was just kind of playing around with that, mainly because I need to get this off this stand and put it on its own little rolling stand while I wait, because I need the engine out of Mr.E to go on the stand so I can take it apart and see what happened. So I actually drove it a couple of days ago. Well, drove it. I started it up. It starts and runs now, but the noise is, it basically, I just took it out of the shop and kind of down the driveway because I couldn't really hear what it was doing, and all of a sudden the noise got louder to where, oh, I can definitely hear that. So I turned around, and then the noise turned into a noise slash feeling, never good. So I shut the motor down and towed it home, or towed it back into the shop. So the motor is definitely done, but you know what they say, when life gives you lemons, yada yada. I don't know, whatever it says. Make lemon meringue pie. This is an opportunity, okay? Since the engine is toast, I can pull it out. I'm very curious. You and I will dive into it and see exactly what happened. But, you know, since it's out and it's apart, well, you know, I mean, why wouldn't you bore it and stroke it? You know, just saying, it's a 302 now. It could be, well, it could be whatever you wanted it to be. So, as long as it was 302 based, you know, we might be able to unlock some horsepower, more horsepower. You know, it already has the AFR aluminum heads and intake, and I think it has a mild cam in it. I don't really want to mess with the cam too much because I like the drivability. You know, if we do anything crazy with that motor, I'd want drivability. I don't want something that's finicky. You know, want to get in it, crank it up, fuel injected, take off, have fun, bring it home, park it up, and then ignore it until the next time. I just want it to work. So, you know, that's what's happening. So, I don't know how I got off on that. Okay, I'm gonna keep working on this. Oh, I did get the trinary switch wired. I just don't have the switch yet. So I'll start working on the dash, and we'll see what we see. 8 days. Let's see what happens. howdy, howdy. I was getting into that music, you know, it started slowing down. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll quit. And then just cranked right back up again. Gets the blood pumping. Sorry for all the noise. Okay. So that last, I don't know, whatever, time lapse, is about 2 days of work, not quite, just so you kind of have an idea how long it takes to do things. It's just, you know, wiring, you have to take your time. And then, of course, when you're assembling the dash, you also have to take your time because it's just plastic and you don't want to break anything. Yeah, I guess we can wander into the car and I'll kind of show you what I did and what I didn't do and what I have left to do and what I'm about to do. Whew, that's just a lot of information. Maybe I should write it down on my whiteboard. Anyway, let's go take a look. Well, so got these little fancy little door vent things installed. That other one fought me. It didn't want to fit. Again, we've talked about these fenders are, you know, well, we don't know who made them, but things don't always fit perfectly in the aftermarket world. So, I'm gonna sit down on the seat here, which is just some moving blankets. It'd be nice to have some seats in here eventually. So, I guess starting on this side, well, shoot, I had to wire a bunch of things. So I wired all of the switches, wired and pinned, and then I installed, if you can see down here, the control box for the decoder digital gauges. And then, see right up here, that's the converter essentially from the OBD port in the engine bay. Comes in here, translate, comes in here, and then sends it up to the gauges to give you information like water, temp, oil pressure, RPMs, you know, all the good information. So wired that stuff up. That came in from the other side of the firewall. Another thing that came in was the power wire and everything for the vintage air system. So that needed to be wired in, and also wired in to dash lights and something else I'm having trouble remembering right now. So most of it is pretty much plug this thing into power, and then this handles all of the controls. But there's just some other inputs that need to be addressed. This here is just the controller. Eventually it will be mounted up under here, and that helps you set things up for the gauges, like calibrating speed, calibrating your, you know, whatever, fuel level and all of that kind of stuff. So, what else did we wire? We also, coming in from the other side of the firewall is the e-brake, which you can't see it because it's tucked way up in there, the controller for that. But this essentially is the button for it. And it's all wired in to the ignition and everything so that you won't be able to hit the e-brake and it come on while you're driving, while the car's running. Once you turn the car off, then you can press this button, and it will set your parking brake. So there'll be some sort of something here. The interior is not done yet, so I'm not sure how it's going to go or if I will figure out a place on the dash for it. We will see. But I have enough, you know, I can put it, this is just an unknown right now. So, and then these wires are for the backup lights. If I had an automatic transmission, these would have been wired in. So when you click the selector in reverse, it sends a signal or it switches backup lights on. I have a, you know, 6-speed here. So I'm going to have to wire the backup lights in a different way. And so that's why they're sitting there. All right. I'm kind of reclined here in the car. Hopefully this isn't too awkward for you. Are you caught up? I just want to make sure I'm not moving too fast. It's a lot to cover over a couple of days. Okay. What else? Oh, yeah. So I found out, or was reminded, that these doors are going to have power door locks. Manual windows, but power door locks. The reason being is when the owner received the car, it had already been body worked with no lock on the outside of the door. So we've overnighted just because it was something we just forgot about. The lock actuators for inside the doors, and that wire there is a fused 30 amp from, it's just an auxiliary from the, you know, thing that holds the fuses, panel block thing. Yeah, so that is the power wire that will feed the system for your door locks. So obviously, with door locks, it needs to be powered all the time from the battery because you can't unlock your car, you know, just it sequences. You have to unlock the car, then you turn the key and have ignition. So, or accessory. So anyway, that's what that big wire is. I'm just waiting. And yeah, just the assembly of the dash and all of that fun stuff. Radio, we can't forget about the tunes. No speakers yet, but I wired the radio for power, and then the speaker wires are there for whenever speakers get installed. I'm assuming by the interior guys, not by me. So that dash is in, but oh yeah, and I did all of the vent stuff. You saw me do the vent stuff. So a couple of things. I didn't have enough of the big vent tubing to go to this vent. So I need some of that. So the dash is going to have to come back out for that. But also, I only plugged in, I didn't plug in any of these switches, radio, signals, clock, none of that. All I did was plug in the main gauges because the goal here, we're getting close to starting the car and we just need gauges. So the dash is up temporarily for that until all of the rest of this gets finished up and we put the dash in for the last time. It's just kind of difficult. If I were to plug everything in, then I would have to take the dash out again and unplug everything. It's just easier if I plug two things in. It makes it come in and out way easier. So since I know I have to pull it out, I just hooked up the gauges. It looks done, but it's not done yet. You know, car building. Car building is kind of like building a car and then unbuilding it, building it again and unbuilding it, and then building it again for the final time, maybe, unless you need to unbuild it again because you forgot something and then you build it again. So that's just what it is. It's a process. but the dash is together for the first time, and that is a milestone. So we'll take our victories, and this will allow us to get the car started and all of that. So I've just got to button up I got some wire loom, the power wire for the vintage air I have on the firewall here. So I need to put some loom on it, hook it up, and then, oh, look at that. It's looking more like a car, isn't it? I guess I forgot to show you the grill. That was done when the owner came over. I mean, just look at it, how cool. I'd close the hood too, but you know, I can't because I'm working. And then these are just set in here. They still have to be bolted in or whatever. A little metal hood vent thingies. We've got all of the weather stripping in for the windows on both sides. And next week, the glass people come. We're gonna put the glass in. I think we're gonna pretty quick be putting the exhaust on, or, you know, kind of a temporary exhaust for now, just so we can crank it up and it isn't like crazy loud, and it can kind of be driven around a little bit. And you can actually hear what's going on. Because when an engine is too loud, Mr.E, just have to, anyway, you can't hear everything that's going on. So, you know, loud pipes save lives, but they also prevent you from hearing when things are going wrong. So, you know, you got to just do what you do. So, yeah, that's it. Those are the updates, unless I'm forgetting something, which I probably am. We still have parts and pieces. This is the exhaust pile right here. So we'll be getting to that, and we're still waiting on this. So let me just take you in a little inside baseball. I don't know why was it called inside baseball, or am I thinking of a different saying? Anyway, a little inside baseball. Let's just go with that. Sounded right. So this is the hardware that came with the wiper stuff. Okay, the wiper. This bolts on to the firewall with these little holes here. And then the raised holes, like this one, and they're already threaded, you know. Those are the ones that this bolts to. So that bolts to the firewall, this bolts to that, and this is the hardware they gave us. Well, it's not the right hardware. Look at that. Well, that's not going to work. It's actually a 1/4-20 hardware that I need. However, whoops, I'm just trying to demonstrate that I'm telling the truth. However, if you were to use 1/4-20, 1/4-20 does not fit in these little bushings. So, you know, we're kind of at a catch-22 here. So we're looking around, maybe this, even though this fits the car, you know, all the holes line up and everything, maybe it's not for this car. Maybe it's for a different car, because we need one that has different threads on it. So there's the insider. You were just, you know, that's why some things aren't getting done and other things are, because you run into problems everywhere. So, yeah, all the little things, you know, it takes time to put all the little rubber pieces in, all the door things, all the little things, and then once you put them on, For instance, what if you put a striker on? Well, now you've got to adjust the striker. You know, it's not just a simple matter of bolting things up like Legos. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I just felt like making it sound as hard as possible so that, you know, I can get a pat on the back for working so hard. And it's just so, you know, all the difficulties. Well, I knew I wouldn't get anything but mockery from you, so it's just about what I deserve to. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why I put up with myself. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I'm going to just keep on trucking on this and just doing a few things here and there, and then we'll probably try to throw the exhaust on after that and hopefully get the car started. I hope you can be here for that. We'll see. An engine starting is always an exciting event, and I don't want you to miss it. I just have to see if I can work it out. So, all right. I'm just going to get back to work now, and feel free to help out if you want. Hey, I feel like we just saw each other, but actually much time has passed. Well, yeah, what does it matter if I'm wearing shorts or not? It's super hot out, okay? I'm not talking Arizona hot. I'm not talking East Texas hot. I'm talking, you know, Minnesota hot, which is, it's really not so much about the highs as it is about the lows. I'm not trying to speak in existential terms here. I'm just saying, if the low at night is only, say, 73 degrees and 80% humidity, and the high is 90, well, nothing cools down, and it's still hot. So I'm just trying to cope with the heat, and I figured shorts is better than going shirtless, because nobody wants to see that. So, okay. Much time has passed, as you can tell by my grizzled appearance. Also, my grizzled appearance has to do with the fact that I just haven't had time to shave, because I've been super busy and super trying to stay cool. So we got the exhaust on. I'll, you know, we'll walk around the car together, but I was just raising this up because I knew you were coming, and I'm gonna just show you the exhaust that we put on. Don't look too close. It's the first rough version. It'll be taken down and you know, massaged and coated and everything. So the welds right now, you know, it's not like, anyway, I'm just saying, temper your expectations. It'll be better, but not right now. This is just to get the car running. So we'll do that. And then, well, we got the engine running. So I didn't even get to be here for the first time because I had to leave. You remember Bland, you know, the car that ended up in the drink? Well, I ended up selling that to some nice person. And then, but I'm still shopping for a car. The kids have saved up more money. and I'm shopping for a car for them. Hopefully not another one to wreck. Hopefully they'll keep this one this time. And I had to go look at one, which I didn't end up buying because, you know, I could poke up the carpet from under the car. Didn't have a floor. Not a great sign. That's why you have to go look, because you never know. Anyway, so he got this thing cranked up, but I got to hear it when I got back. The only issue was I had a couple of coil plugs mixed, but that was easy enough to trace down. Plugged them in the right one and did that. I'm telling you that to say, hey, perfection is not existent and you're going to make mistakes. It's fine. You fix the mistakes and then you're good to go. So, yeah, no harm, no foul. There's a lot of plugging of things in and double checking yourself, but you know, 5 o'clock on a Friday, am I right? I just bumped my head there. Okay. All right, well, let me get this raised up and let's take a not too close look at the exhaust. We'll lower it back down and we'll hear it run. Okay, we didn't do a crossover or anything. It's just essentially we've got, you know, the flexible portions in there coming through this side, and then there's no way to get the exhaust up over the top, so you kind of just have to run it, you know, under that rear diff. And yeah. So we did that, and then we wanted the tips out here, but it would require kind of an extra bend down and up. And honestly, we were just, you know, this took us a very long day to do this. Neither one of us are exhaust guys, though both of us have done exhaust before. You know, we're not. It's not something we do every day, so it just takes time. You have to make your cuts and do what you do. So, yeah, and I tested also the e-brake once I got everything hooked up, and it works great. So, I mean, of course it works great. I'm not at all surprised. So, so we've got some, you know, just tack welded on here. We've got clamps in a couple spots because we need to section it out and take it off to finish, you know, grinding and then get it coated, make it look nice, and then put it back in, and then it'll be welded in those places. But for now, and also it may be getting an H, you know, crossover pipe during that time. But this was just simply all about, let's get some exhaust on it so we can run it. Yeah, so now you're looking at me saying, sure, it's exhaust. Seen exhaust before. We want to hear it run. Well, I don't know who this we is you're talking about. Do you have a mouse in your pocket? That was just so dumb. I've never heard that expression before. Okay, so let me drop it back down, and what we've all been waiting for. Well, not we, as in you and I, because I've already heard it, but I love to hear it again. So let's do it. Okay, and as you can see, a little more progress was made on the front end with the headlight buckets and the grill area. We've got, you know, SS 396, which of course it's not, but we all know that, and it's just cool to have the badge on there. Yeah, well, you know, it's just cool. This whole car is cool. So got glass in, you know, some more of this stuff. Oh yeah, and this door handle is not hooked up yet. Let's see if I can reach in and unlatch the door with my fingers. There we go. Okay, so as mentioned before, I only have the gauges hooked up. There's no radio hooked up or anything like that. So I imagine the lights work. Oh, yeah, they do. Anyway, yeah, nothing's hooked up. This wire down here that you see just hanging here for now is for the electric door locks. There's just some actuators in there that you probably can't see because it's hard to see. But I drilled some holes here to let the wires pass through for that. And those will be activated somehow. Don't know yet, actually, if it's going to be by remote or by a button somewhere or something. I don't know. Everything's hooked up except the actuator part because we just haven't decided yet. So, got a handle. There you go. Okay, are we ready? That is, you know, whew, I wish you could smell it too. Something about the smell and the sound. When you start a car, it's alive. It now has a personality. And yeah, pardon my French, but it's a pretty badass personality. So, yeah, very cool. Very cool. So, we're gonna call it quits on this episode because it's so hot and I'm just tired. It's been a thrash to get this far on the car, and next week is kind of a half week. I've got yeah, just a few things to button up. So, but then the car will be gone. It's out of the shop, and we'll miss it, but we won't. We'll have mixed feelings. All right, I'm gonna go sit down. I just feel like I'm sweating. I need to get this hair off my face and feel better about myself. Oh, feels so much better. I've got my air conditioner on and the fan on, and I've only got a couple more days of this though, and it'll cool back down and I'll be happy again. So, I know, even drinking water. Stay hydrated, kids. It'll help you. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I just know that drinking water is essential, you know, it's science. Oh, let me see. Oh yeah, I had to I was so sweaty and stinky, I had to get out of my uniform. So you may have trouble recognizing me in a different color shirt, but hey, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So, not that any of us here care about wardrobe. I'm sorry you weren't around for a lot of what got done this week. It was a very busy week for me working on Mr.E. But we got to hear him run. That is just one of the coolest things in a build when you get to the point where the motor starts and the car gets a personality. And yeah, so got Mr. F here behind me. I can't ever stop looking at that car. It's just so beautiful, and I am looking forward to hopefully in the next month sometime I will get time to pull that motor. Right now I'm waiting because I need to get him inspected, and the inspection isn't a running driving inspection. It's basically for the state to see if the numbers on the engine, transmission, receipts, it all matches. So, you know, you're not using stolen parts or whatever. So it's not a safety inspection, it's a component inspection. So I'll just trailer it to the inspection. They don't need to hear it run. They'll check everything, and then I'll be able to get the title for it. So that's why I haven't pulled the motor already, because I have an appointment in a couple weeks for that. Once I get the inspection and I know the title is coming, then I can pull the engine and we'll see what kind of damage happened. That'll be later on. So I am really, really glad that you're hanging out with me here, and it's just fun. It's fun to see things come together. It's fun to hang out, and hopefully you know, enjoy the time. I guess if you don't enjoy the time, why are you here? There's no hyperbole. There's no flashy titles. There's no, you know, I'm not hitting a car with a sledgehammer. We're just doing things that we do, building cars, having a good time. So anyway, hope to see you next time. Like I said, next week will be a little bit shorter week. We'll try to have some fun anyway, as usual, but maybe won't get quite so much accomplished just because I'm going to be gone part of it. So anyway, take care. We'll see you when we see you.